everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to take you through the process of how I make this notched collar top with a flare and a button placket. I was able to achieve this with 2 yards of Ankara fabric. If you are on the bigger side, you might end up making use of 2.5 yards. So if you are watching my video for the very first time, do well to subscribe and like. Please watch the video from the beginning to the end so you will not miss any part as I take you through step by step. Now let's get started. I have my fabric on a fold of 2 here, and I'm going to be cutting the back piece first. So the neck width I'm working with is 3 inches and the shoulder is 7.5 inches. Then I'm going to add ½ inch for the sewing because I'm cutting on fabric, which makes it 8 inches. My shoulder slope is 1 inch. Then I'm just going to connect it just like so. The next thing I'm going to do is to mark my armhole depth, which is 7.5 inches. And I'm going to mark it just like so. 7.5 inches. I'm going to mark it right here, and I'm just going to get the straight line like this, and I'm going to connect the lines just as you can see me doing. The next thing I'm going to do now is to get my bust round, which is 40 inches, and I'm going to be marking 10 inches here. After marking the 10 inches, I'm going to get the midpoint, and I'm going to just connect these lines right here together. Now I'm going to connect the lines together like so, and after that what I'm going to do is to mark the length of the upper bodice right here. So I'm working with 17.5 inches plus 5 inches to join to the down part. I'll mark 18 inches here. I hope you understand. 18 inches right here. And I'm just going to connect it like this. So the next thing I'll do is to get the waist measurement 8.5 inches. Then I'll mark 1 inch for that, and I'll now mark 1.5 inches for the sewing allowance. 1 inch for sewing allowance and ½ inch for turning of the lining. I hope you understand. So I'll mark 1.5 inches right here. So the allowance I have totally there is 1 inch for that and 1.5 inches for the turning of lining and the sewing allowance. I'll mark the same 1.5 inches here, and I'm going to connect just like so. I did not mark the dart allowance on the bust area. I hope you understand. Now I'm going to come to the neckline here. I'm going to mark my neck depth of 1 inch. I'll mark my neck depth of 1 inch, just as you can see me doing. Then after doing that, now we are done with the back, and I'm just going to cut it out just like so. So I'm going to cut here with allowance of ½ inch, you understand, to join. And here I'm not going to add anything because I already added ½ inch before cutting out. I hope you understand. So I'm going to place, this is for the front part, is also unfold, and I'll mark 2.5 inches here for the extension and the button placket, for the notched collar extension and the button placket. I'll mark my 18 inches first. Then I'll mark 2.5 inches right here. I'll also mark the 2.5 inches here. Then I'll come from the midpoint here in the front, and I'll mark 1 inch for the extension of the notched collar. I hope you understand, for the extension. So now I'm going to mark my 8 inches from this point right here, just the same way we did for the back bodice. I'll mark the 1 inch shoulder slope. Then I'm just going to connect my 3 inches neck width. I'll just connect it just like so, as you can see me doing. I'll come down by 7.5 inches. 7.5 inches, just the same way we did at the back. 7.5. I'll get the midpoint here. I'll mark it, and I'm just going to come in by ½ inch, just as you can see me doing like this. So what I'm going to do now is just to connect it this way and mark just the same way I repeated everything I did for the back. After doing that, I'm just going to come here and I came down by 3 inches for my neck depth, and I'll just connect the curve just as you can see. 3 inches, and I'll just connect it just like so. I'm just going to extend it into the extension right here, just like this. I'll extend it just like this. Then I'll come down here and I'll mark 8 inches for my neck depth. This is, you can mark whatever you want, your preferred neck depth. I hope you understand. So just mark it like so. So I marked 1. So I did not pass that 1 inch for the extension, as you can see. I did not pass that 1 inch, just as you can see. So make sure that you do not pass that 1 inch. You understand? So if you want yours to be more than that, you can add more than 1 inch. So I'll just come here now and mark the nipple point is 4 inches plus half, because I'm cutting on the fabric. I'll mark 4.5. If you are cutting on your fabric, always add ½ inch so that you will not have a shortage. Then I'll just start cutting. I hope you understand. So once I get to this point, I realize that I'm supposed to just bring this down with ½ inch. Just mark ½ inch right here, and I'm just going to connect it into the neckline. I'm just going to make a curvy shape, connect this ½ inch into the neckline, just as you can see me doing like this. Connect it slopey like this. I hope you understand. Then I will cut with my ½ inch allowance like so, and ½ inch here as well, just as you can see me doing. So I'm done with this now. I'm just going to, you can see the back piece on it like this, so they are equal. Then I will come to this part, the midpoint of the back. Please I hope you know that our back is not opened, so mark your whatever the difference between your front and your back is, mark it here, then connect it just like this, and make sure you do not connect into the allowance you have for sewing and turning of lining. I hope you understand. The 1.5 inches I have, this is what I'm marking here. Mark your difference between the front and back of yours. I used 1 inch there. So after doing that, now what I'm going to do now, I'm going to mark the dart allowance, the dart spot. So I'm just going to notch it right here. 4.5 inches, 4 inches for the darts and ½ inch to sew. I hope you understand. So what I'm going to do next now is to cut it on my lining. I'm going to be cutting out the lining pieces, and here I have the lining piece for the back, and I have the lining piece for the front cut out already. So what I'm going to do now is to work. You can see this is for one side and this is for another side, the other side of the front, and you can see what we have here. Please, I would like you to take note of the 2.5 inches here. Just take note of it, and I'll be working on the lining piece. So this is the lining piece. I'm going to be dividing it into 2 because I want to use Ankara fabric as the facing, the one that is going to be showing outside. I hope you understand. So I'll mark 3 inches from here. Then I'll come down here and mark 4 inches. This is what I want. You can decide to add to yours or reduce yours. So I'm just going to divide it with this line, and before dividing, I'm going to be adding ½ inch. Do you understand? I'm going to be placing it on the second part of the lining of the other side of the bodice. So I'm placing it together this way so that I can cut it together. I'll pin it down so it will not shake. Then I'm going to cut with ½ inch allowance that I'm going to use to join it back. I hope you understand. So this side that has armhole is the side that I'm cutting and keeping. So I'm going to add ½ inch all the way here, just as you can see me doing like this. Do not cut on the line so you don't have a shortage. Then I'm going to be keeping this part now, and I'm going to be replacing the other side with the Ankara fabric I want to make use of. I'll be replacing this side with the Ankara fabric. You can see I added ½ inch as well to join to the other piece. I hope you understand. So I'll be removing this lining on the Ankara fabric now, and I'll keep it one side. I do not need it anymore. I've replaced it already. So I'll pick up this lining piece on the Ankara fabric like this, and I'm just going to place it on each other, just like the right side of the Ankara fabric, place it on the lining and stitch down with 1/2 inch all the way down like this. I hope you understand. You're going to have a little curvy around there. It is because of the way I cut it out. So just place it on each other like so, so you will not make any mistake, and pin it down, then stitch down with 1/2 inch. So here is what I have after I was done. And please make sure you notch around this side so you can have a relaxed part here, and then push the allowance on the side that has the Ankara fabric. I'll place it on the original bodice in the front, and I'll just place it over each other, right side facing each other like so. And I will measure the 2.5 inches I told us to take note of the other time for our extension. I'll mark the 2.5 inches like so, and I'll come down. So this is what I want. You can decide to reduce yours to 2 inches, 1.5, or you can make use of what I make use of. So I'll just come down and notch through the 1/2 inch that I marked there. Come down by 1/2 inch. Then I'll start stitching from this notched area with 1/2 inch, just like this. Then I will stitch all the way down like this to this place with 1/2 inch, from the notched area all the way down with 1/2 inch. So here is what I have after I was done. Make sure that you notch this area by the time you are done stitching so it can relax properly. Then I will do the same thing to the other side, and what I'm going to do, you can see the notch area here. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to open up this part here, and I'll flip the lining piece to the right side facing each other like so. Then I'm just going to run a stitch of 1/2 inch here, and I'll repeat the same thing for the other side as well, just to turn the lining inside. I hope you understand, so we do not have a rough edge. Here is the back piece, and I'm just going to place it right side facing the lining, and I'm just going to turn the side as well with the lining, so I will not have a rough. I'm going to hide my rough edges. I hope you understand. So I'll repeat the same thing for this side as well. Then here is what I have after I was done. This is the right side, as you can see. Then I'm just going to stitch it together with the lining piece, just to hold it down. I'm not going to be turning this neckline, just hold it down with the lining piece. Do not turn it, just stitch it down like with a 1/4 inch. Just stitch it down, and repeat the same process for this front here. Just stitch it down with 1/4 inch. I hope you understand. Just stitch it down so it doesn't shake or move. Then after doing that, now the next thing we are going to do is to mark our dart. For the front, I'll mark my 4.5, then come up by 5 inches, which is later going to be 4.5 inches, because we are going to be using 1/2 inch to join to the flare. I hope you understand. So I'll just mark it that way, and I'll repeat the same thing here. Then for the back piece here, I'm going to also mark my 4.5 inches, my notch area here. Then I'll come up by 7 inches, which is later going to be 6.5 inches by the time I'm done joining to the down part. I hope you understand. So I'm just going to mark it this way, and I'm going to hold the dart. So I'm done holding the dart, then I'll place it on each other, the shoulder on each other this way, like so, right side facing each other. Then I'm just going to run a 1/2 inch stitch on the shoulder this way to join it together, 1/2 inch. I hope you understand. So here is what I have after I'm done. Then I'm going to start measuring the front neckline from the notched area, and what I have here is about 4 3/4. Please note that. Then I'll come to the midpoint of the back and measure what I have there to the measured one side of the back, and what I have here is about 3 1/4 inch. 3¼ inches. So I'll just take note of that and put it down as well. I hope you understand. So we are going to be cutting the collar now. Here is the pattern I'm going to be using to cut the collar. Here is the back. We are going to be starting our measurement from here. I'll mark my 3¼ for the back. I'll mark it right here. Then this part here is going to be for the front collar neckline. So I'll mark my 4¾ right here. I'll extend the lines just like this. Then I'll indicate 3¾ for the back and 3¼ for the back and 4¾ for the front. I'll come up here by 3/4 inch, then I will make a curve right here like this, as you can see me doing. Then after doing that, now this is for the front and this is the back. So what I'm going to do now is I'll come to the front here, then I'll come up by 3¼ inch. This is depending on whatever you want. This is what I make use of, so you can decide to add more or reduce. So I'll mark 3¼ inches, then I'll measure what I have here. Altogether from the down part is 4 inches. Then I'll mark 3.5 here from the back neckline. You can decide to mark the same 4 inches if you wish. So after doing it, I'm just going to connect it together. I hope you can see. So I have 4 inches in the front and 3½ at the back. So I'll connect it. I'm going to have a curve around here, a slight curve. So I'm just going to connect it just like this. Then I'm going to come out by 1/4 inch here, just to have a pointy collar, and I'm just going to connect it like this. So I'm going to cut it out now, as you can see me doing. So I'm done now, and I'm just going to indicate this part here as it's going to be cut on fold. This is the middle back and it's going to be cut on fold. So I have it cut out now on the fabric, and here is on fold, and I have 1/2 inch all around. As you can see, I have 2 pieces here. At this point, you can add your stay to make it stand properly. So I do not have a stay around me here. That's why I'm going to work on it like so. I'll turn it right side facing each other like this, and I'm just going to get the midpoint of this part here. I'm just going to get the midpoint and mark it here, notch around it. So I'll get it like so. So this is the down part. The part I've marked is the down part. So I'm going to come here now and mark. I'm going to be stitching down with the 1/2 inch allowance I added. So from this down part, I'll come up by 1/2 inch. Come up by 1/2 inch from the down part. Then I'll stitch with 1/2 inch to the upper part of the collar, 1/2 inch all the way like this. Then I'll stitch down with 1/2 inch, and I'll also come up here at this side with 1/2 inch. I hope you understand. So this part here is going to be open, and that is the down part. I hope you understand. So I have it here now. You can see what I have, and I'm just going to be stitching it to the neckline of the bodice. I'll be stitching the collar like so. So just place the bodice down just like this, and open up your collar and pick the part that we have notched earlier, and pick it and join it with the parts with the middle point of the back that we also notched earlier. I hope you understand. Then I'm just going to fold, hold it all the way like so. I'm just going to hold it all the way like this and bring the notched area on the bodice and merge it together with this folded part that we left, this 1/2 inch that we left. Just place it on each other like so, and then you're just going to stitch inward. Please, I hope you understand this part. The other side here, just continue If you are making use of the right measurements and you measure it well, it is going to fit in properly. There is no problem with this. It's going to fit in properly. So just place that ½ inch here and place it on the notched area that we have on the bodice. Just pin it down and stitch all around. Just stitch all around with ½ inch. I hope you understand. I'm just trying to place it properly here for the sake of the beginners that are watching. You can pin it down if you wish. You can pin it down. So just place it like that and just run a stitch from the ½ inch here. I hope you understand. So just run a stitch from this ½ inch here. You can see that they are on each other now. Just stitch it down with ½ inch from this part here. Make sure that they are aligning properly. I hope you can see. So just stitch it from ½ inch here and stitch it all the way down to the ½ inch at the other side. I hope you understand. Just go all the way down ½ inch and make sure that you are stitching below this the first stitch that you have here. Just stitch below it. I hope you understand. Stitch below that stitch that you already have there and stitch it all the way down with ½ inch to this other edge here. I'm trying to take my time here for the sake of the beginners that are watching. Make sure that those notch area and the ½ inch we left on the collar is aligning properly and sitting on each other properly, so you can have a neat finishing on this part and then stitch all the way. I hope you understand. Stitch with ½ inch below this first stitch that you have there. So I'm done stitching now, and the next thing I'm going to do, as you can see, is to bring the excess at the upper part now at the other part and fold it in, pushing the excess you have, the stitch that you have sewn before, push it in and use this one now to cover it up. I hope you understand. Just cover it up this way, all the way. Pin it down and make sure that your collar is relaxing before you start pinning it down. Make sure that they are relaxing properly. Just pin it down this way and then you fold it in. Push in the edge, the rough edges you have there, push it in and then pin it down. Take your time so you can have a neat finishing around this place. So just push it in. If you are following what I'm doing, it is going to be very easy for you to do this. Just push it in on this part as well and pin it down. Push it in and make sure that it is relaxing properly. The collar is relaxing properly before you start stitching. Then you stitch down with ½ inch. I hope you understand. Just pin it down this way. You can see the way I've pinned it down like this. Just pin it down and stitch with ½ inch. I hope you understand. So I'm just taking my time for the sake of the beginners. So just stitch it down like so. And run the stitch. Make sure that you're running the stitch very tiny at the edge of the folded part that you have there. Then after that, what you're going to do now is to bring the sides together. After doing that, bring the sides together like this and hold in your allowance. You know, we had 1½ inch allowance and we already used ½ inch to turn the lining, so we have 1 inch left. So we're going to mark our 1 inch right here and repeat the same thing on the other side and hold in your 1 inch allowance, and that is for the fitting of the bodice. So now we are going to measure what we have at the down part here. Measure what we have on the down part here, and what I have here is about 35 inches. I'm going to have my fabric on a fold again, just like this, and we are going to be working on the flare now. So now you can work with any flare you want. So I have my 35 inches here and I'm going to be adding 3 inches excess for pleats. I'll advise that you add about 5 or 6 inches excess. So now I have 38 divided by 3.14, which is our radius for this triangular flare, and that will be 12. So the length of what I want to make use of, the length is 9 inches. The length of my flare is 9 inches, so that makes it 21. I'll use half inch to join at the upper part and the down parts. That gives me 22. 35 plus 3, that gives me 38. 38 divided by the radius, 3.14, that gives me 12. 12 plus 9 inches for the length of the flare, that gives me 21. Half inch to join at the, to turn the lining at the down part and join at the upper part is 1, that gives me 22. I hope you understand. Now we are going to be cutting. So whatever you arrive at the after your calculation will determine what you are going to be folding here. I hope you understand. So what I have here now is 22 from here to here. I have 22 inches right there. I hope you understand. So make sure that you do not miscalculate and take your time. So I'm going to be marking. I have 22 inches here, you can see. Then I'll mark my 12 inches first in a circular form like so. 12 inches like this. I'll mark it all the way in a circular form like this. 12 inches. I'll mark it so. Then I'll come down and mark 10 inches. I hope you understand. 9 inches and 1 inch to turn the lining at the down parts and half inch to join the lining to the half length. So that makes it 22. So I'll cut it out just like this, as you can see me doing like so. And this is what I have after cutting it out, and I'm just going to get the midpoint and I'll notch it like this. Then I'll cut the lining pieces exactly the same way it looks. So after cutting the lining pieces, what I have, so I'll just place it on it and turn it right side facing each other. Then I'll stitch it with half inch to turn it. So you can decide here to reduce the lining, your lining piece, just so the Ankara can be folded in. And you can add your stay or whatever you want to use to make it stand here before joining. So I'm just stitching now, and I've also stitched down this part here just to make it balance. And this is what I have. So I've notched the middle point as well. I'll bring my bodies now, and I will get the midpoint of the bodies and place it, that's the middle back of the bodies, and place it at the middle back of the flare like so. Then I'll just place the edge. You can see the front part here and the slit part we have on the flare. Just place it together like so, and whatever excess you have, you can see that I have a little excess around here. Just place this part as well like so, and then you will work with the excess that you have. I added 3 inches excess, 1.5 inch on both sides. So that's why I said you can add 5 or 6 inches, even 7 inches excess, depending on how bulky you want your excess to be. Like I'll be forming a key split here. So how you want your key split to look like, how many pleats you want to form will determine the excess you're going to have. So I'll form a key split right here, and I'll be pleating it on the side joining. I hope you understand, on the side joining of the bodies, just like this. Form a key split and pin it down like so. So you're going to have something like this. I hope you can see something like this by the time you are done. And repeat the same thing for the other side and stitch it down with half inch all around. Here is what I have after I was done joining, and you can see here we have the front darts. So this is why I said you should add enough allowance to the for the key split. So you can also have the key split, you can just come here to the front dart here and have a key split around this side and pleat it on the same way you did on the side joining. Just pleat it like that, so you can have a very beautiful flare. You understand? So if you have watched up to this moment, thank you so much, and kindly give my video a thumbs up if you find this video helpful, and share. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys, and I'm going to see you on my next video. Thank you so much. Bye.